most of the next program.
We could propose, your discussion can include proposing potential conditions.
Does that have to be part of the public hearing, or do we have to, at the actual?
That's now as far as, however, if you have questions you wanna ask somebody, then this is the time to have a discussion.
I have a question on legal interpretations. We had two different kinds of interpretations here. One saying that the focus of this hearing is a narrow focus. Another one that said that there's other issues that were presented here need to be considered as part of the development, specifically the earthworks. Which is correct? Is there a legal interpretation that is correct here, that we have to take into consideration the earthworks issue as part of the approval process, or is that separate and distinct?
In my experience, typically, if it's not addressed by the PUD, it defaults back to the regular zoning.
Sorry.
If it's not addressed in the PUD, like in this instance, they highlight the fact that, signage, landscaping, stormwater plans, phasing, housing, mix, location, access to pedestrian, bike trails, reports by a geotechnical engineer shall be submitted as part of the final development plan approval process. That's not, I don't believe, typical. With respect to this PUD, this becomes the zoning. Anything that is not addressed in this PUD then defaults, and given my understanding, the earthworks would come probably after, I would say. I think that probably evaluate that as well. That's a legal argument.
Well, how are we supposed to decide which is the correct legal
Well,
argument?
I think you take a position, and as long as you set forth the rationale behind your decision, if this is appealed, then the judge will go ahead and see if, he agrees that there was a preponderance or reliable evidence for your position.
So to me, that earthwork ordinance that's put in place should be followed. It's been in place for decades, more than a decade. Why wouldn't that be followed?
Well, it's not what it says here, but yeah, I agree, I hear you.
It's not that our earthworks are void. They still have to follow the earthworks ordinances. But at this stage, the way I understand it, and tell me if I'm wrong, because I'm trying to follow what everybody's been telling us, is our decision today is going to be based on whether or not they follow certain earthworks codes, what have you. That would be after the fact, right, as far as their final development, whether, what do you call it, site plan, whatever that comes afterwards. It's within that site plan.
It'd be a subdivision plan, correct, Brian?
Consider a subdivision plan, that's when we would make sure that our earthworks are enforced during that process. That's the way I understand it, tell me if I'm wrong in understanding that.
Who's gonna enforce it?
The engineer is assigned as the official enforcer of our earthworks, so the village engineer is the enforcer.
So the ordinance don't mean it. That's not what's being said.
I would just say, at this point in the plan development, our experiences, we review of these, it's not the technical stage in the development, but the plan stage, there's a lot of back and forth with the development, with more technical engineering drawings. Those are not final construction plans that we make recommendations on. So, which is typical at this stage, again, in our experience, how we've done construction. Those are not submitted at this stage.
So, what is the next?
At some point, you have to have discussion, make decisions, set forth some rationale, make a motion, it needs to be seconded, and then voted upon.
If, can we make conditions after this, when they do the subdivision plan, can we make conditions at that time?
Generally,
any
So
conditions.
if you want conditions, I would recommend that they be put on at this point.
Okay, I'm just trying to follow, understand.
In fact, I have a great problem with the unknown here, you know, if you put conditions on, what, you know, what might be encountered is where they're going to digging and excavating, they might find something else, instabilities or some other things that we don't know about now, that we haven't foreseen to put in those conditions now. That's, the unknown is to me the issue here. If we don't know what we don't know, how can we tell what conditions need to be put on to protect ourselves from that unknown?
These are all good questions.
Well, that's the way it is with every development that's ever built. Never miss an opportunity to start over.
So I will just say that I am still very concerned that even if they follow all of the geotech guidelines as they're building, which there are no guarantees that that's gonna happen, right? But even if they do, I am still very uncomfortable with the long-term risk to the village and the residents, but even the village. The reason I say that is because no one can guarantee, no engineer can say, if they do X, Y, and Z exactly right, then we're 100% guaranteed that that hillside is not gonna move. And the village is a small village, we don't have deep pockets. So like that Elbron development that, you know, was shared, and some of the other situations in other parts of the county, that could happen 10 years from now, or 2 decades from now. It could put the village out of, just in bankruptcy, if something like that happens. I don't feel like we should put the village at that kind of a risk. I don't think that's responsible.
I want to say, I don't think it's just what happens 15 years from now. What happens if they start moving the hillside around and it comes down on the road? Who's responsible for that?
All the risk is on the village, because even if it goes through and everything's built, seems fine for a few years, everyone's gone, JMA's not gonna be held accountable. You know, John Ehouse isn't gonna be held accountable. If something goes bad, then either the residents are gonna suffer the consequences and the village. And we are taking on all the risk. Why would we do that? Open to other ideas.
Scott, what is the liability to the village?
And that, quite frankly, that shouldn't really be, the factors that should be considered are set forth in the code.
No, well, my opinion is, okay, where it says, will not impose an undue burden on public services, we're responsible for ensuring the safety of the public in our village. So to me, that does not meet that criteria.
That's the kind of rationale that, I would like to hear.
So,
I got one comment. First of all, I really appreciate what you're saying. You guys are here to represent us, it's not John Enos. And, it's nice to hear somebody represent us.
So, I'm open to what other folks have to say up here. What are your thoughts? Because if it was up to me, I'd vote.
I think it's pretty straightforward, what we need to just make a decision on is 5 points, right? Basically, D is the one that seems to be the most, seems to be the one that, is being addressed mostly here in regards to
Risk.
the risk, right?
With the potential liability of something like a landslide that would, village would have to existing, would that be considered a public service facility?
You're asking me.
It's not.
Given the fact that these such as fire and police, I would probably say no, but there is a duty to maintain the roads. So if they would cover up a road, obviously. But that, I mean, I would have to do legal research on that, I can't, off the top of my head.
You're with this, you're deflecting, you're returning.
I think if the rationale is that it does include that, then you should make it part of your rationale, and that way it can be addressed on appeal. And the argument can be made, kind of whichever way you go.
So does anyone want to call a motion to make a, yeah,
I make a motion for a vote
what are we voting on?
on either the approval.
So the approval should include the conditions if
I think the staff report addendum has a recommended motion, to make that motion. It doesn't mean that you vote it back away, it's just the proper language to use, I believe.
Okay, I can make the motion then. Can I make the motion or someone else?
Sure you can, but before you get to, you wrote the motion in the affirmative, even if you were not in favor of it, we would still recommend that you make the motion in the affirmative, so that your yes vote is in favor and your no vote is opposed.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So to consider approval of this
Because
development.
it says here you can make a motion to deny.
Well, it says what Brian's trying to say is the fact that if you make it in the affirmative, a vote no would be to deny.
Right.
If that makes sense.
If you
That way it's
make
not
the
as
motion.
easy.
It's like if someone makes a motion or council, and people say no, we know they made a motion for the affirmative, means somebody's voted no. That's
Okay, I'll let you make that motion. That's.
Ryan, show me where the staff report says what motion
Here it
they
is.
made.
That's what's.
That's I make a motion to consider approval of the final development plan for S&O's Phase 11 Derbyshire Glen Eagles condominiums based on the findings in the staff report and staff report addendum, subject to compliance with all recommendations of the village engineer and with the following conditions. You're saying I gotta read the following conditions?
And that's if you wish to add some or take some back, this is where.
I'll just read the existing conditions on there. That the development shall contain a maximum of 48 units. That the development is subdivided in separate lots. All open spaces areas shall be located on separate tracts and shall be owned and maintained by a condominium or homeowners association. That prohibitions, restrictions for the undisturbed areas shall be submitted as part of the final development plan. That the development shall comply with the subdivision rules and regulations unless modified by the North Bend Planning Commission. That areas on the submitted plan where vegetation is proposed to remain shall be identified as undisturbed on the final development plan, and that temporary fencing be erected around these areas during construction and development to prevent accidental removal. And that the final development plan shall be revised to provide the required 20-foot minimum front yard setback for all buildings measured from the new public right of way.
And that there will be a street bond, right? That wasn't included in there.
I'm just reading what's on here.
If you want to add conditions, you can.
I mean, if, I don't, okay.
So I need someone to second, right? Yeah. Who's second? Mike?
I'll second.
I get a roll call. Aaron?
Okay, roll call on this vote. Chairperson, Mrs. Bolter.
No.
Mayor Doug Sammons.
No.
Member, Mr. Don Carges.
No.
member, Mr. Michael Bailey.
No.